Lemn Sissay, welcome again to the University of Huddersfield. Not too many years ago, the university presented you with an honorary award for your poetry, but also for your work with looked after young people. And indeed, you've been back to the university on more than one occasion to do workshops with looked after young people. More looked after young people go into prison than they ever do into higher education. Do you feel that the state is letting looked after young people down? Is it not providing enough opportunities?
When a child runs away from the children's home or from their foster parents, which is a natural thing for a child to do if they find themselves in an alien environment, nobody runs after them. The police are called and the police have to get them. In other words, a child in care is more familiar with policing structures than he or she is with educational structures. So it is no coincidence that a child in care ends up more likely to be in prison than it is to be in university. It's no coincidence. In fact, it's actually suggested that the child in care forms an early relationship with the police.
Has it got better since you were in care?
As long as any child is committing suicide in their adult life because they've had an experience of the child in care, and this week, you know, the report has just come out in Wales between 1974 and 1994 of industrial scale abuse. It's coming out now. So the question has never been to me as to whether it's better or not. It's whether its effect is causing death and pain to any one individual in the care system. So, you know, you would hope things improve, but really that doesn't mean anything to a child who's been, for example, fostered 5 times and is being left at the age of 19, which is what is happening to most children who are in care at the moment. You know, so the least I expect the care system to do is to look after the child in its care. I'm not that interested in, you know, small improvements on a system which was already fundamentally flawed. Small improvements are children being told that they will be looked after between the ages of 18 and 21 as care leavers. But if you've spent a life in care, you're a care leaver for life. I think that all children in care should be given computers. I think all of them should be given a Facebook page. I think they should be allowed to have their picture taken without it being blotted out because they're supposed to somehow be anonymous, because I think children in care should not feel shame and guilt. I think the care system should be so good that parents who have children actually want their children to go into the care system just like they want them to go into private schools. You know, those are my standards. You know, my standards are not, well, children in care no longer have to use bin bags when they move from one foster parent to another. That's not a victory to me.
You spend quite a bit of your time giving to these young people through your workshops, through recitals, performances. Are there other things? Are there other people who could do this type of thing? You know, what could be done to sort of broaden the culture, if you like, for these young people? Because it must be a real eye-opener for them, for somebody like you to come along.
We have to, establish where this narrow idea of what a child in care is. It is the institutional idea which is narrow, not the child's. The child has to fall in with an institutional idea of what it is. You know, I've said this before, and, you know, many people will speak of this as the reality in 10 years' time, but for now it's a relatively new idea. Harry Potter was a foster child, Moses was adopted, James from James and the Giant Peach, I think, was orphaned, Pippa Longstocking was never with her father, Jesus was from a single-parent family, with a surrogate father. Muhammad from the Muslim faith was orphaned. You know, we are we're not on the back foot, we are on the front foot in society, you know. We have been allowed to have insights into what it is to not have a family, which actually allow us to empathise and allow us to cultivate skills which otherwise are not cultivated. We're special, and I don't mean that in any sort of romantic way. You know, we as kids who've been brought up in care or who are fostered or who are adopted are part of a great line in both popular culture and real life. We have a great form. The only people who tell us I don't are the institutions that bring us up. And it's really important for me to explore and expose the true narrative of the child in care. I think they work with extraordinary skills through extraordinary situations on a daily basis, and the more they're not recognised for that, the worse it is for them.
Lemn Sissay, we're looking forward to your lecture this evening.
Thanks a lot.
The University of Huddersfield, inspiring tomorrow's professionals.